Hello, everybody. I've been writing a lot about the crisis that we are facing right now in Australia, a political crisis, a crisis where everything that a lot of us have been fighting for the past nearly 2 years, that's being overtaken by events, and I've been writing a lot about it, and I thought I'll just clarify further for anyone who has a question about why I am really concerned that we are losing the fight. You see, the way politics works, and I've explained it a couple of times, there's a thing called the median voter. It is the voter right in the middle, the right in the center. It is the median voter that determines government. The median voter decides whether it's going to be Liberals or Labour or anything else. Now, the median voter, looking at the pattern of hysteria that we face today, the median voter is not afraid of the vaccine. Keep this fundamental point in mind. The median voter is afraid of COVID. When you talk to the median voter and tell him that the vaccine is dangerous, the median voter says, hey, hold it. I've got the vaccine. All my family's got the vaccine. We've got 2 doses or whatever, 3 doses in some cases. The median voter is not working in nursing or in healthcare. The median voter is the guy right in the middle, the average person, the average punter. The average punter is not really affected by these kind of things. He's not a truckie. He's not working in these industries that are, having the compulsory vaccines. He's not been forced to get vaccinated. The median voter is actually the guy who's previously was standing in big long lines, as you saw for the COVID testing. When he didn't have anything, the median voter was so scared of COVID that he would go and stand in a long line to get tested. That's the median voter. The median voter is the guy who watches television, who watches ABC, who watches MSM. The median voter does not read any of the information that you and I provide on social media. This median voter determines the election. This is the basic fundamental point in politics. This is known to all politicians and is written about extensively in public choice theory in economics. Now, if you ever want to win an election, you really need to understand the median voter. And you need to understand, appreciate, engage with the median voter, address the median voter's concerns, and then you may have a chance of winning. The current approach for the freedom parties, initially there was hardly any movement. Then we saw Craig Kelly, fall out and so on and so forth, which is good. And then he left the Liberal Party and then so on and so forth, all good. And then we finally decided, okay, let's join the UAP. That's what he said, and became the president. That's wonderful. Got a $90 million budget. That's great. And Scamo attacked all the other smaller parties, including Australia's representatives. And so we had to merge with somebody else, Australian Federation Party. That party is still under process by the AEC. We never know what happens, but essentially the only party that's actually going to fight the election all over Australia with the aim of winning government and forming government is UAP. At the moment, there's no one else at all on the radar. The Lib Dems are absolutely the way they always were. Feeble-minded, well, I wouldn't say feeble-minded, they've got a good mind, but the feeble strategic capacity. Let's say their capacity to think politically is pretty close to zero, which is why they've been more or less there where they are, where they started 20 years ago, which is zero. And they are waiting patiently for the fruit to fall on their lap. One Liberal will fall down on their lap. Okay, that's how their strategy works. They have no idea of the median voter. They don't understand what the median voter is thinking. They have no leadership that offers the median voter anything. So yes, a few Liberals will fall into their laps and a few votes will go their way. Number one, they're not contesting all the seats across Australia. They have no such ambition, which is why I didn't really engage with them after they. This was most fundamental point as far as I was concerned, that you have to, run for forming government. And they were not interested. They're basically in the Senate, a couple of seats here and there, and the way they're going, they'll completely fail. Leaving aside the LDP, therefore, the only serious party with money is UAP. One Nation, I think they're a good party. I don't know if they're going to contest nationally. I don't think they have the resources to contest lower house seats. We'll see where one nation goes. But that's mostly, again, in the upper house space. So all the other parties, Great Australia Party, etc., are essentially, Senate, aspiring for the Senate, where there are 25 or 50 parties aspiring for a few Senate seats, which are the leftovers, from a fight between the Libs and Labs. All we're expecting is maybe, rather than maybe two, one nation people or whatever, we might get 4 or 3 or 1 UAP or 2 UAP. So basically, this is called the balance of power. This, to me, has been the complete failure of strategic thinking of our political oppositions, that is, the freedom parties. Right from the beginning, they've been they put their bar very low. They just want to make a couple of seats in the Senate. And I've been telling them, look, guys, you're in a position you can comfortably and very easily win the election. And I repeat, they will comfortably win the election if they just do what I'm saying. I've been saying this, by the way, for the last 18 months, so it's nothing new. What I'm saying is very simple. I'm saying that the median voter has been made hysterical by Scott Morrison, the scammer guy, whatever. And all we need to do is to engage with the median voter and repeatedly engage and show the median voter that scammer has been lying. Nobody likes to be lied about, particularly in a situation where they've suffered so much. Okay, this was a thing that they could have just run with this particular point that I've been making for such a long time, and they would have won by now. They would have had, they would have been in the, absolutely in the winning position. If not winning, then maybe second. The polls or whatever, the sports bet, etc., everything would point to their favor, saying these opposition parties, particularly UAP, I would imagine, with the resources, would be pretty close to winning and forming government. What do you see instead? Exactly what I predicted. By the way, I'm pretty decent at these kind of predictions. Okay, don't underestimate my predictions. They're based on a very extensive analysis of the way politics works at very close quarters, much closer than most people have seen in their life. I've worked with the most senior politicians and seen politics at a very close level in India and also in Australia. I've seen them very, very closely, and I can only tell you that I don't sense anything in the atmosphere, any mood change, which suggests that the opposition parties are going to win. They're not even in the game. They might actually lose the few Senate seats that they have. Craig Kelly will 100% guaranteed lose his own seat. So this is the situation, guys. If people aren't going to think politically about the median voter, if people are going to continue to remain obsessed, is the word, with their concerns, and I think their concerns are very legitimate and not undermining anyone's concerns. But I'm saying your concerns, by the way, would never have happened if the vast majority of the Australians had been persuaded long ago. I've been saying this is the way to proceed. Let's go and persuade the Australians that this is hysteria. This is a very big, exaggeration. Now, instead of doing that, because everyone is so, I think everyone, the moment they wake up, they're saying, oh my God, the vaccine, the IVM is required, etc., etc. Hey, calm down. Please calm down. Because the moment you start going down that path, you're actually butting deep into a rabbit hole from which no light shines towards the median voter. The median voter is not listening to this kind of stuff. The median voter thinks Craig Kelly is an absolute lunatic. He doesn't care for what Craig Kelly is asking. He believes that Scammer and Albo are very good. The TGA is excellent. That they have, blocked IVM for very good reasons. And in fact, there are many other countries which have blocked. So what they say is, hey, it's not just Australia, it's also these countries and so on. So who the hell is Craig Kelly? What does he know? A couple of doctors, some fringe doctors, and that's the language used by Fauci, right? The fringe. Converting all the knowledgeable people into the fringe has been a very good propaganda strategy. And they've been helped by people like Fauci, etc. So at the very top, and when people come with their credentials that they are chief health officer or whatever, the common man says, hey, this guy must know something. That's why he's in that role. The common man doesn't have the time, capacity, or energy to really dig into the details. So what the common man does, and that's the median voter, by the way, please remember, the median voter is the common man. The common man simply takes at face value whatever he's told by the government and by the media. Now, what you cannot persuade him when he's in a state of hysteria is that he should not take a vaccine. You cannot persuade him that if the TGA is saying that IVM is bad, that IVM is good. No, you cannot. You failed. Everybody's failed. I mean, anyone who's tried this stupid strategy for the last, 18 months has failed miserably. And it's not reached anyone. It's only reached a few, the actual people who are reading things or other things on their own. So guys, if what you're doing on a daily basis, repeating the same thing again and again and expecting a different result, tell me what's the name of that? That's known as insanity. Do you realize that anybody who's expecting to win, but they continue to be insane, are actually not going to win, all right? So you need to get out of the insanity, because this is about strategy. You need a general, as I keep saying, a general, when he goes to the election, he does not engage in fluffy nonsense. He's just very focused on winning, okay? And Craig Kelly is not focused on winning. And so I'm saying we need to be focused on winning. I don't have the money. He's got the money. So he's got to get this sorted out, right? Or whoever it is that's got the money. What they need to do is to really focus on the median voter. The moment they start engaging with the median voter, the advertising, the questions to scammer, the kind of language to be used, the marketing, to the median voter. It's going to be very hard, by the way, to change the impression that Craig has created for himself over the past 18 months. He's been locked in and called rogue, etc. by the ABC. Now, it's very, very hard for him to come out and say, hey, guys, did you realize the pandemic was really very small? Did you realize that the IFR is only 0.096%? Did you realize you can't really detect the pandemic in Sweden's death rates, and so on? It's going to be very hard for him to get out of the hole that he's dug himself into. And also all other freedom parties, by the way. It's not just Craig. Everyone has just been ranting on about this little, the vaccine thing. Tell me, guys, 94% of the population has taken 2 doses, okay? Whether, voluntarily or coercively or whatever. No, the vast majority, overwhelming majority haven't died. Just like COVID has not been killing vast numbers, similarly, the vaccine has not been killing vast numbers. Yes, it has killed a few here and there, and we know that. And there are some arguments about, the underreporting, overreporting, and so on and so forth. But from the data that I've been looking at, which is only Sweden, by the way, please do not ever share with me data from Australia, from USA, from all these countries, and say, hey, look at the vaccine deaths. No, they're not vaccine deaths. Lots of them are lockdown deaths. You really need to understand here, guys, that the only data that we can look at where lockdowns did not occur, and if there are extra deaths, then we know that these are vaccine deaths. And that has to be Sweden, the only country without lockdowns. You need to control. This is called controlling experiment. It's a variable that you need to control for lockdowns. The only country that therefore you can prove to me that there have been vaccine deaths is Sweden. And in fact, in Sweden, there is zero evidence of vaccine deaths. I have identified a small signal of vaccine deaths in the younger people in the European Union data. That seems to be a possible, thing, and we need to monitor that. But really, don't tell me that the vaccines are killing on a large scale. Just as the COVID has not killed on a large scale, so also this one. Let's calm down, everybody. Now, having done that, remember, if you keep on harping on the vaccine safety and the IVM issues, and they're all very valid, I'm not going down into the question of are they good, bad issues or what. No, they are all relevant issues. Everybody should have the right to have their own opinion and to have the freedom of choice and all those things. You need to know what I'm saying. I'm actually fully supporting freedom of choice. I'm fully supporting informed consent. Don't ever come to me saying that I'm a vaccine promoter. No, I strongly support vaccines in general. This particular one, I have recommended clearly that's very good for the elderly, maybe. I didn't recommend, by the way, I don't recommend. I repeat, I ask people to consider. It's their personal choice. I do not make any recommendation. I'm not your doctor. I'm not your doctor. You need to talk to your doctor or your medical specialist friends and work out whether it works for you, okay? So I'm not into the business of either promoting one drug or the other. I'm not a vendor of any medicines, no matter whether it's, medicine sold by this company or that company, or if it's off label or whatever. All I'm saying is everyone should have the right to decide what goes into the body. That's common sense. That's also the law. That is not in question. But if you argue this particular issue with people who are desperately terrified and who are desperately interested in the vaccine and so forth, they're not even going to hear the first word that you say. When they're not hearing the first word, how do you expect to win the election? Where the hell does this nonsense come into anybody's head that they can even closely, win the election? They'll be wiped out, guys. When I'm saying these kind of things, please remember, I'm not saying it because I'm a great man. I'm saying because I want to win the election. I didn't resign my job and then, enter politics just for the sake of losing. I'm not a loser. I'm not a loser. I don't want to be loser. And I really have never lost. Whenever I've attempted something seriously in my life, I've always won. I've always delivered. This is one thing I'm not able to deliver because the people are simply not able to understand. And I understand that they're hysterical about the vaccine, but they must understand that it's not going to get them the election. The only thing that's going to get them the election is to stop the hysteria. You need to get people calmed down. The median voter, the common man, the average person, the person who's not a nurse, the person who's not a doctor, the person who's not a truckie, they are not being compelled. They are just doing it because they want to take the vaccine. That kind of a guy or a girl, whatever, woman, has to calm down first. How do you calm them down? You don't calm them down by going and saying, hey, the vaccine is very deadly. They say, no, it's not deadly. So that's saving our life? How can you talk such nonsense? You're stupid. And in that manner, what you have done here, a lot of these freedom people, including freedom rally people, they've alienated a vast majority of Australians. Now, I understand that, everyone is hysterical and crazy and all that stuff, and they'll realize it after a few years. But you can't just go around trying to win an election or being in politics, and that's the answer. The answer is politics. Absolutely, undoubtedly, the answer is politics. And the answer is to win this election, and the answer is, and what I'm saying is a totally winnable election. If you can guaranteed win this election, just do what I say. Now, I'm not saying something stupid. I'm saying something common sense. You please think for it yourself. How can you get the common man to vote for you if he doesn't want to listen to you? Please explain to me. Think for a minute. Can anyone ever vote for somebody whom he doesn't trust? Will this ever happen that, they've just abandoned Craig Kelly on the side. They've abandoned anybody who's a freedom rally person and crazy. They call them crazy in the media. They think about them as crazy. They don't listen to what they're saying. And now these people are expecting to win the election. Election is about getting 35-40% of the vote at least, the first preference. That's not a trivial exercise. And remember, there are competitors from both sides who've been voting Liberal all their life or Labour all their life. And yes, one or two are falling here and there. But they're falling into, nobody knows where the hell are they going and what they're going to do, these couple of voters here and there. What we need to get is the mainstream voter. And the mainstream voter, the only way to get the mainstream voter is to tell them that scammers lied to them. Show them how scammers lied to them. Focus on this one issue. I said focus for 1 month. I think nobody even bothered for 1 minute. Forget about 1 month. People don't seem to be getting this basic message. I am afraid that this is not going to work. You can keep doing the same stupid thing of yelling vaccine safety and all these things for the whole of your life, and you'll get more and more tyranny, because the tyranny is not coming from the politicians. Remember, it's coming from the vast majority of the people of Australia. They are the people on whose shoulder Scammo and Albo are firing their guns. The people are supporting these guys. When people say, I stand with Dan, they actually mean it. There's lots and lots of these guys. There are lots and lots of these people. I remember going to the shopping centers and talking about, these lockdowns and border closures. People said, we want the Australia's borders to be closed forever. We don't want it to be ever opened again. That's what they told me. These are real people. They're desperately scared of COVID. For something that's barely with an IFR of 0.096%, equal to a flu, but because it's more transmissible, 2 to 3 times more deadly than a flu. Therefore, like the Asian flu or Hong Kong flu, which is what Tony Abbott said, which is widely available and understood in the data. And that's what people need to understand, that this is not terrifying Spanish flu. When they understand that, once they understand that, they might listen to other things. They're not going to listen to you when you go on screaming the same old thing again and again. You're basically talking within your echo chamber. You're talking to people like me. I don't need to know that. I know much more than that, by the way. If you read my complaint to the International Criminal Court and a lot of my writings, you'll realize that I've actually understood all these things a long time ago. You don't need to educate me on what's going on. Craig doesn't need to educate me. We need something to educate the average voter. The average voter is not interested in this kind of stuff. He thinks this is absolute nonsense because he's very afraid. Do you not understand that your friends, neighbors, etc., and family are afraid? When they're afraid, do you go around basically provoking them and triggering them with this thing? Or do you say, no, calm down, this is not really that bad? First say that, calm them down, When they calm down, then you think about, doing all these other things. And so I've been repeatedly saying the freedom rallies won't work. That was my prediction long time ago. I wrote it, I said about it. No, it's not going to work. What do you think? Just by going and making this, noise in the streets that people will wake up? No, because what you're saying is exactly what they don't want to listen. So there are this 100,000 people, let's say, or 500,000 people in Australia who actually agree with this. But there are total 25 million people in Australia. And this doesn't really work. You can get hundreds of thousands of people on the street, but not going to win the election. And without winning the election, you can't change this, what's happening. If Albo comes in, which is, by the way, guaranteed, all the polls are saying that, and the betting, sports bet and so on are saying that. By the way, these two combined, when they say this, that Albo is coming, he is coming. And there is nothing that's being done to stop it. So here, guys, I just thought I'll have a few minutes to explain why you need to step back and be strategic. You need to really think how to reach the median voter. The person whom you hate, you say these people are hypnotized, they don't listen. No, they don't listen because you talk nonsense. You go to the face and start talking about vaccines. They will not listen. I've been saying this for the last 1.5 years. Do not talk this to the person who's hysterical, because for them, vaccine is their lifeline. You are telling them that the lifeline doesn't work? Well, they've taken the damn vaccines and they've not died. How will they believe you? Can you not stop and think for a minute that this is not going to work? I mean, you've been doing this stupid thing for the last 1.5 years. Has it worked? Has anything helped in changing the people's perception? Has the polling changed 1 inch? No, because you're going down the hole which is guaranteed to lose you elections. Anyone who wants to change this must win this election. We must form the government. I'm there to help everyone form government first, and then we will do whatever is necessary, including, by the way, as I keep saying, accountability for all these people. A royal commission, and I'm sure after that, criminal charges and life behind bars. But none of this is going to happen. None. If you keep on focusing in a random and ad hoc and crazy manner, running around like helter-skelter, like headless chooks, talking about vaccines and IVM. Stop it and go straight into your neighbor's house, sit down and give them the data that I've been showing. First, you've got to understand the data. It's very easy to say vaccine, vaccine, vaccine. Try to understand the data. That's not very easy, okay? Once you master what I've been saying in terms of the data, the IFR, the COVID magnitude, the comparison with Spanish flu, the Sweden data, why Sweden is so important, because it didn't have lockdowns. Once you really understand it, then please go and talk to your neighbors and your friends. They will listen. I've done it so many times. It takes time, but they always listen. Carry the charge with you, go and show them the information. They always listen. It's a very slow and tedious process. That's the only way it's going to work. Once you can do that, instead of going around in big rallies and shouting at each other and making great, patting each other on the back, that's not going to work. You're not going to win the election. If you don't win the election, you get Albo. He's worse than Scamo. So what are we doing? Do you have any common sense, people? I mean, how many times do I need to say this? I've said this for 1.5 years. I'm saying it again. Please, for God's sake, calm down. Step back and work out how to engage and how to persuade the median voter, the common person. The person whom you think is hypnotized. How do you get into their head? You don't get into the head by telling them about the vaccine and IVM. Anyway, I've said this again, and I'm probably said once again or 5 times again, till it gets into everyone's head, that I'm here not to question these issues. No, I'm not questioning them. I'm saying this is not going to win you in the election. You need to change strategy. You need to follow exactly what I'm saying. You need to follow it exactly what I'm saying. If you move even 1 inch out of that, and by the way, I keep saying, do not, till they're completely doused of hysteria, that is completely finished, do not even raise the issue of vaccine. I know you're totally hung up with that. Don't do that, okay? If you want the tyranny to stop, you need to listen to me. Please calm down and listen to what I'm saying and read what I've been writing about, and then finally you might actually be able to change the atmosphere. And even Craig Kelly might finally listen to me, and he's got the $90 million, and he might change the world. He might change Australia, and that might change the world. Currently, unfortunately, it's guaranteed to be a wipeout for Craig, himself losing his seat, and not a single seat in the Senate as per the predictions. Clive Palmer will lose his seat, etc., etc., etc. It's got a total wipeout, so even the one nation will be wiped out. So this is the current position, okay? If you want to make it a losing situation, just please keep doing what you're doing. If you want to win, which is what I can guarantee, then you need to stop and listen exactly to what I'm saying. I'm saying it very bluntly now. I don't have anybody else to tell you to listen to. Just do what I'm saying, and you will win the election. Okay? Bye.